Are you ready to hit record?
I did.
Okay.
I don't believe you did it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fireside Chat with the Johnstons. I'm Justin.
Oh, sorry. I'm used to doing this part. And I'm Danielle. Also, our only plant died.
Yeah.
That was in our previous videos.
Flashback.
So in about 2 episodes, you're going to see this thing dead.
If Danielle takes care of it, it will be dead.
Okay, good news. Still don't have my good news.
I don't remember. I have this condition.
We had a great weekend. Do you remember what we did this weekend?
Welcome, everyone, to Fireside Chat with the Johnstons. I'm Justin.
And I'm Danielle. And we are excited to have you guys here, whether you are viewing on YouTube or listening on the podcast. Welcome. So we own a gym right here in the middle of Missouri, small town, cows, corn, chickens, horses. That's basically our town. We have a Walmart though.
We do have a Walmart.
And a Sonic. So if you have those 2 things, you've really made it. We're like there. So guys, not only do we own a gym, but we are 2 of the owners of Next Generation Gym Owners. We teach gym owners how to be profitable and grow their gyms and enjoy being a gym owner.
You can enjoy being a gym owner.
It
is possible. It is possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, we start every episode of Fireside Chat the same way. We start it with good news.
Good news.
Yeah, and also sometimes we film at night and we partake in beverages.
Yes.
So if you consider 10 a.m. nighttime, I'm just kidding. You're in the right place.
So this episode is brought to you by Twisted Tea.
And White Claw,
And a little
but
White
we
Claw.
actually don't get any money from them, so
No.
we should probably stop saying that.
We probably should. I don't even know
They
if that's...
should be paying us for this.
They probably like that. But anyways.
Or they're going to send us a nasty letter telling us
It kind of
to
is.
stop representing them.
It was summer yesterday, but if you live in Missouri, you understand. Yesterday was summer, today is winter.
That's right.
Yeah, so it flip-flopped on us.
So we planned to have these great summer drinks, and now I feel like I should be drinking like a warm rum chata and hot chocolate because it went from 85 degrees yesterday to 58 degrees today.
Oh, yeah. So good news. My good news for this week was I think you guys heard that I was gone for a little bit. So I took a little trip, one-way ticket to the middle of Michigan somewhere and picked up a small vehicle and drove it home. It's 26 and a half foot long Chrysler 300 limo. So an old limo, but in great shape.
Guys, you can get a used limo for pretty cheap. So...
And I drove it 11 and a half hours straight.
And my good news is that I don't have to listen to Justin talk about buying a limo anymore because it was a ridiculous idea. And Justin, what do you intend to do with this limo?
It's going to be my daily driver. I just need a new daily driver. No. You know what? I tried to rent one time, and it was ridiculous to get one out of Kansas City down here. And so
why not buy one?
So after looking, it's that targeting stuff. I got targeted, and next thing you know, I'm getting used limos shot at me all the time. Justin, check this out. And I was like, whoa, that's not a bad price. And so I started looking at them, and what is it, like 8 months later?
Yeah, it felt like a lifetime that I had to listen.
8 months later,
talk.
I've got the night. It doesn't even feel real. You go in the garage, it doesn't feel real. Like that can't be. That's like a.
And yes, our garage does fit it because it was intended to fit multiple vehicles, and now a limo takes 2 spots. So
Yeah.
There you go, guys. That's Justin's good news, and mine is that I don't have to listen to limo talk anymore. And now that we have one, we can really move on as far as looking at them all the time. So.
Oh yeah.
Feel pretty good about that. We did take the teenagers to our own teenagers to Dairy Queen with just 11 of their closest friends the other day.
We loaded them in. They rolled up the little privacy window behind me, and we're just cranking the tunes in the back, and it was pretty fun.
Remember I said we live in a small town. One of the kids' grandfathers showed up at Dairy Queen just kind of randomly, and the guy's like, "What are you doing here?" And the kid said, rode a limo here. So
I was like, what?
It's
It was
kind of
pretty
weird,
good.
but
Yeah.
but there you go. Justin does a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
So.
Why be normal sometimes? You know.
Why be normal
Yeah.
when you can just be the weirdest guy in town?
Live on the edge sometimes.
One day
you know?
you're going to be the weird old man that the kids talk about.
Oh man.
Today you're just the weird young man that the adults talk about.
I don't know. Maybe I'll be normal when I'm old.
No offense, ma'am, but where's the fun in that?
No.
Maybe
no
I'll
way.
just be normal old.
I doubt
okay.
that.
Let's
Okay,
do this.
So guys, we have a great topic for today. We are going to be talking about the dark side of success. What happens when you are super successful in your gym and all of a sudden you find that you have a few haters?
Yeah. And then you buy a limo. No.
Those two things did not correlate in my mind,
No.
but perhaps.
Haters. Yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about this, we're talking about people like Raiders fans.
Yeah. There's some haters out there.
You know, let me just use this as an example. I got a text message from Shelly not too long ago, and it was like, that was a ridiculous call. She wasn't even watching the Raiders game, guys. She was watching the Chiefs game and just couldn't mind her own business. It was a fair call, Shelly, and she'll set the record.
Hey, when you're good, you're good. You know, there's haters are going to be haters.
We don't even need some of our players, and we can still win games. That's how good we are. So, guys, you're going to find not only in sports world, but in business that you are going to have haters from time to time. Everyone hates the sports team that's doing well. People don't always like going up against you at competitions. And even in business, you may have another gym in town that just seems like they're always talking smack about you.
Oh, that's the norm.
That is the norm.
That is the norm. Yeah.
You know, maybe they're trying to recruit your kids. Maybe they're actually just saying things like, oh, their coaches aren't credentialed. Their gym is so dirty. You know, they're so rude to the kids. They overcharge for things. Whatever they're saying about you, this is what it feels like when you are successful. And every so often you just get those people that cannot leave you alone because you were, in fact, so successful. I also want you guys to think, as we talk about haters, like relate yourself to that kid who made a team. Maybe they made a level 3 team and they don't have their tuck yet, but they were a great back spot. And there were other kids, you know, without tucks that you didn't need on that team. It's possible that you are that person in this situation, right? If you're the gym that people are saying things about you, because maybe you had an unfair advantage somehow. You picked a great, I'll say it, we picked a great location being just kind of north of town with our gym.
We did.
Because the town started to grow north. And so the dance studio on the south side of town was in some ways at a disadvantage because people were traveling north and business was growing north, whereas it wasn't growing south.
Right. Yeah. Just strategic.
Yeah.
Being very strategic in your decision making.
And there can be things that people don't really like you for that you had no part in, right? Maybe you opened and you got really lucky and a whole bunch of people came to you and it had nothing to do with your merit. It had to do with, you know, another gym closing or something like that.
Right time, right place.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you're finding yourself with haters when you really didn't deserve them. So we're going to get into that today with the dark side of success.
So the first comment I just want to make on this is because, you know, kind of as she just said, that sometimes you don't feel like you deserve it. Well, I want you to look at it as something that is a milestone for you. If people are not talking about you, you don't matter. Nobody talks about people that don't matter. If you're sitting at home on the couch doing nothing, nobody talks about that kind of stuff because it doesn't matter. Like everybody does that. But when you stick your neck out and you go out on a limb and you start stirring up the universe a little bit, people get agitated. People start looking at you and they start talking about you. Because why? They're not doing anything. And when they're not doing anything, they expect you not to be doing anything. You know, people are creatures of habit. And so when you break the mold a little bit and you step outside that mold a little bit, people get agitated. And so they just start talking about people. And it's usually, for the most part, you can have a lot of positive things said about you, but there's going to be a lot of haters because it's just jealousy. That's what it is jealousy.
It's just jealousy.
Yeah. So breaking that mold and doing that, I want you to look at it as a positive thing. You're going in the right direction. When people start talking bad about you, when you're out there producing good in the world, that's a good thing. You should have people. It's kind of an identification out there, like, boom, okay, I'm going in the right direction. It's like a little mile marker, and you're like, oh, I've just hit this first mile. I've got 2 people that hate me now. And then as you're going along, gym grows, and now you've got 4 or 5 people hate me. I never say that you want people to hate you, but there's got to be people that just don't like your product and don't like what you do and don't like how you do it. And that's okay. Cheer is too expensive. The kids wear too much makeup. I don't like the way that dance looked. You know, you're going to have people that are just going to say stuff about you. But if you didn't dance, if you didn't go to these competitions and wear makeup, if you didn't do this stuff, nobody would be talking about you. So look at it as a positive thing. People are not going to like some of the things that you do, and that's okay. They're not your client, and that's all right.
Yeah. As we talk about the dark side of success, let's talk about what success looks like in a gym, because you might be listening to us thinking, well, you know, I didn't have this great location that just popped up. I didn't have all these kids coming to me. We don't win all the competitions. So like, I'm not successful. But that's not actually what we're talking about here. I don't actually care how many wins you had on the mat, though it makes my heart happy when we win. The competitive side of me feels very fulfilled. It doesn't mean that my gym is successful.
Right.
The things that we attribute success to are the things that build a legacy for you. So happy long-term families in your gym. People who, you know, we have kids every year that are achieving the 10-year mark with us now. We've been around 13 years. I've already had, I think, 4 kids get the 10-year mark with us, and we'll have several more this year that get it. When you start achieving things like that, that's like, wow, we made an impact on these families for so long that they stayed with us 10 years. That's like, truly, it's the majority of childhood for most people.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
The next one would be staff. Happy long-term staff.
That's right.
How many times have you been at a gym where the staff are turning over? It almost feels like a fast food place. Like, as fast as you get them in, they're leaving. You know, they're walking in the front door, walking out the back door.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing this. But, you know, so happy long-term staff, that's success when you get people staying with you for a long time.
Yeah. Our town does a vote. They call it Best of the Burg, and it's pretty competitive every year.
Oh, yeah.
And so a couple years ago, I think it was 2019, that we were voted best place to work in Warrensburg.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a huge mile marker of success for us. Now, you can't win every year, though. Little part of me really wants to. But that was a huge mile marker for us because it said, you know, this is an element of success for us. Our staff loves working there. And like, who loves going to work? The staff at our gym.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would be a happy gym owner.
Right.
Like, if you're one of those people that when you see someone post out there in the group, you know, I'm thinking about opening a gym, what's some advice you have for me? If your first thought on that is don't run, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's awful. You'll hate your life. Like
Yeah.
all those comments that I've seen, if that's your first instinct, you probably are lacking an element of success, right? And that's the kind of success that we try to bring to gym owners, because I love owning a gym. We've probably had several opportunities at this point to get out of owning a gym if we wanted to, to either sell it or close it or whatever. And I don't want to. I actually, I do enjoy owning a gym. Do I enjoy coaching every Sunday? No. Okay. There's elements of it that are hard. Do I enjoy having to have those difficult conversations with parents, or like having to talk to an athlete because they no longer are throwing tumbling and now you have to pull them out of that tumbling section? No, those things are terrible. But usually there are so many good things that overshadow those moments, that being a happy gym owner who just cannot see yourself doing anything else, that's success.
Or it's filling that void in your life as well. Like, being successful at it is one thing, but also being successful and filling that void, like you really, you're just passionate about it. You want to share, you want to teach, you want to do that. Being able to do that and be successful at the same time, you marry those two up. Yeah. And you've got, that's a long-term gym owner right there. So
even if you're one of those gym owners that's like, man, I just don't think I could go back and work for somebody else ever again. Like, that probably means that you enjoy entrepreneurship. And that's an element of success. You can be somebody who enjoys entrepreneurship and not enjoy owning your gym. But that's where those two things now need to be married, and they need to come together so that you can learn what are the things that make me successful in my gym so that I can enjoy owning it.
And I want to throw out this rumor that owning a gym, you're never going to get rich owning a gym. I hear, you hear that all the time. You know, the one is, I'm thinking about opening up a gym. Well, plan on being poor all the time. unhappy, putting up with a lot of drama. You hear it all. But I want to dispel the one on as well is the pay, because if you have a successful gym and you have a whole myriad of things that are going on inside your gym, it's not all about just All-Star or just Rec. It's about how you're doing your pro shop, how you're doing all the things within the gym. A lot of them do birthday parties. There's other things that you can bring money in and kids in. Doing other things, camps, clinics, you name it.
Yeah.
And you can be very successful and make very good money in the gym.
And it's also, what do you do with that money? Don't you think that that's
Right.
such a huge element to this, is like, you have to be around smarter people who have more success than you, or you'll never know, how do I invest in real estate? How do I buy an apartment complex so that I have a long-term rental that's now on my asset portfolio?
Right.
How do I do these things? Should I invest in a CD for 7 months or 3 months?
Yeah, at whatever ridiculous rates they are.
Yeah, right now they are.
Yeah,
but unless you're around smarter people, it is hard to learn how to do those things, because one person can make $50,000 a year and the other can make 50, and their lifestyles can look dramatically different.
Absolutely. One is good stewards of their money and the other is not. And
a good steward can mean a lot of different things also.
True.
There are good stewards who like to save and never have debt, and there are others who are looking at something as an investment. And I'm not saying one or the other is actually wrong. I think it's very based off of your own self-discipline and your ability to, maintain discipline and accountability for yourself that determines your level of success there.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're talking about. There's one final element I think is valuable when we're talking about success.
Which one's that?
Nobody wants to walk into a competition saying, I know right away we are in last place. Right? So you have to have a chance at winning. I'm not saying you have to win Summit or Worlds or All-Star Worlds or any other competition. I'm just saying you need to have a chance at winning, because if you walk in knowing first, second, and third place, I already know who's getting it in my division and I am way down at the bottom. Yep. That is really hard. You need to be able to walk in and at least say, I feel like we've got a shot at it. And maybe those end of season events, maybe that's not your goal. Your goal is to make it to day 2 to the finals. But even in that, I feel like we have a shot at it. That's what you need to have. So you need to be successful both on and off the mat to feel like a successful gym owner.
And you want to talk about a whole picture here. If you have successful families that are staying for a long term, happy, that's dedicated families there. And then your staff, happy, dedicated, been there a long time. That consistency right there, along with a happy gym owner who's putting effort into their gym. They're not just on cruise control and complacency is set in and they're just there and not there. They don't really care. So families, your staff, a great gym owner that's excited, you're going to have success. Those three right there put together, you're going to start having more and more success. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the whole picture when it comes to that. So
so that's what we define success as for the purposes of this conversation. Truly, I would go so far as to say that's what I define success as in a gym. But success looks different, right? It's not, we just defined it. Now it can look a variety of ways. You can have growth in your all-star program, or which tends to be the most noticeable, right? We can go from D2 to D1. You can go from not having a novice program to having a novice program. Those are the things that people see and they notice. Right. You can go from, no half your kids, obviously, in October to 25 half your kids or 50. And so that's a noticeable number. But what about rec? All these people talking about this is a D2 gym. Well, maybe they're a D2 gym with 600 kids in the gym because they are so strong in rec. Mm-hmm. That's what success can often look like, when we're talking about those definitions of success. What do they lead to?
The neat thing, too, is success looks different every year. Mm-hmm. You're going to, it's almost like you're setting goals for yourself, because a small gym, maybe with 32 kids, success might look like 64 kids, doubling.
Right.
And
or taking a paycheck.
50 to 100, stuff like that. But also no paycheck, or I take money whenever there's extra in there.
When I can afford it.
So it's inconsistent pay to all of a sudden now I have consistent pay.
Yeah.
That could be success. There's a lot of different ways to look at success, and also over every year. And so recreating what that success looks like for the next year and trying to achieve that every year is I don't know, that's the way you grow and that's the way you continue moving. So
on the outside, other things that look like success are getting really great reviews or word of mouth referrals within Facebook groups. Things like staff promotions, having, going from having no full-time staff to having full-time staff, going from having, coaches to now you have directors and coaches. Things like owners quitting their full-time jobs, like to go work at the gym full-time.
Big.
What is it that Curtis likes us to do in the academy? Anytime somebody quits their full-time job, he wants us to give them a toast.
Yeah.
Because is that the goal for everybody? No, and that's okay. But for those who want to be self-employed, 100% self-sustaining, we have to be able to celebrate those successes. And
that's huge.
That's a success you can see on the outside. Putting on a huge event. We have our trunk or treat coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's massive. I'm actually not even going to be at it this year.
It's one of those things where you think trunk or treat, great. There's 5 of them in town. They're at different places and whatever. But
no, because we took over the town.
Yeah, we mastered that, took it over, and made it. Everybody, when people ask, hey, where's the trunk or treat, or where are people doing things? Twister Sports shows up, boom, 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 like the first one. We go to that one, and then we go to these other ones. Because why? We are not complacent with it. We have, and we just made it huge. We have a DJ playing music the entire time at this one.
We've had 5,000-6,000 people come out to it before. We have people park at this kind of large shopping mall strip area.
Shopping strip, yeah. It's a big shopping strip, yeah.
Yeah, and we bus them over so that we have plenty of parking. We've had countywide texts go out before saying traffic is backed up half a mile outside of Twister Sports. I snapshot that, and that was a moment of success for me. I'm the whole county saw the word Twister Sports in their text messages that night. Just tons of posts on there that were what's happening right now at Twister's? I can't go north on Highway 13. You got that right, because we backed up traffic for half a mile, and it was great.
But that's just one event. And, we also we do a float every year for the homecoming parade. That's the local university. Why not have the coolest float?
Yeah.
Why not? You have 10,000 people out there, or however many in some of these parades, and in this one it's 10,000. It's why not have the coolest? I want everybody talking about it.
Yeah,
I want it ridiculously awesome.
Also, things like expansions to your building, or buying a new building, or getting a lease on a huge space that's in a really great location. That's what success can look like. And so we know that the true definition of success is based around the satisfaction of your staff and customers and you as an owner. On the outside, it can look like those things. So my question would be, are you looking at another gym saying, I see this and this and this and this, and they look super successful, and you feel that little bit of jealousy? Or is it hey, I'm actually happy for them. That was, there's enough kids in every town for multiple gyms, to be very honest. We're in a town of 20,000, and there have been, another cheer gym there has been another cheer gym in town before. I say have because I think 5 gyms have opened since we've been open in 13 years. Huge dance studio in town, another dance studio in the town over, another dance studio in the town over that. So within 30 minutes, there's tons of dance. And others that I probably don't even know about. There's a gymnastics gym right up the road now. There's rec programs. There's youth community programs, kind of like a Pop Warner, but that's just not a thing here. There's all those things that are truly competitors to us, and that doesn't even account for volleyball. Volleyball is the number 1 competitor for us. Softball's number 2. Yeah. In theater, I would say theater is a big competitor for us.
Pulse, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking at those other people saying, hey, I'm really happy for them because when one does well, we all do better? Or are you looking at them and that little bit of jealousy in you is creating that amount of hostility or frustration because that's not you that's seeing that success?
Right.
I'll be the first to tell you, our competitors who have been friendly have lasted far longer than our competitors who...
That's a knock on the wood right there. Pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
Right.
That's not. Yeah.
Those who have been friendly they've lasted far longer than those competitors who envied our success.
And did it in a negative way.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we've always made sure that we have a good relationship, at least a, communicable relationship with the big dance studio in town, because I would consider them our closest competitor, right? There was a reason last year they had kind of this bad thing happen and I sent flowers over there. When COVID happened, like we were talking frequently, hey, what are you guys doing? Is it because we were both sharing the same kids? Not really. It's because we just need to have that good relationship, because when youth sports or youth activities are doing well in your town, they're going to support all of you guys.
And here's a big thing. There's no limit on success.
Right.
There's not like you are allowed 10%, you're allowed 50%, and you're 30. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
There's plenty of success to go around. It's really success is out there and available to people that actually are out there achieving it, like running after it, chasing it, trying to do better. And that's when you see success.
Yeah.
It's not the people that are sitting on their couch or backbiting or talking about the other gym or sending their coaches over and grabbing kids and stuff like that. It's none of that stuff. It's doing a good job and providing a quality product that people like, and just being a good person, taking care of people. If you have good customer service and you have a good product, you're going to have success.
Yeah.
So just stick to those and don't worry about the rest of that. Also, when you're looking at some of these other gyms and you're like, oh man, I'm so jealous. Like, how are they doing so good? Why are they, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's not always exactly what you see. You're seeing a lot of times.
That's me knocking because, go ahead.
A lot of times it's a facade. Yeah. We have found many, many times that those gyms are being kept alive by somebody else's paycheck. That you're like, how do they charge what they're charging and give that kind of product? Well, because they're stealing from other programs in the gym and propping that one up to make that one look good. That's how they're charging some of those prices. You have to charge what you're worth, or else you don't have a business. And those businesses that are doing that don't last. They can't last. They will fall at one time. At the end of this, let's show something that was profitable, did a good job, and an actual business that you can sell. Some of these businesses like that, you can't sell those at the end. You can't show on the books how each program was profitable and doing well when this one was propping up this one, or I was using a spouse's money to infuse into the business every so often. I had to refinance my house to keep the business running. Trust me, it happens. So don't always think that, oh man, they are so good and look at that. Look at her new car and all this kind of stuff. When in all reality, they could be one paycheck or 1 month away from closing the whole thing down. It's very surprising.
Okay, guys, so we are going to wrap up today's episode. However, we have part 2 coming next week for you, where we're going to talk about what does that backlash look like sometimes and how do you handle it? Because that is often the hardest part of it, right?
Yes.
How do you handle it when people are...
And you're like, no.
You just do that. No, you don't do that. So we're going to get into that on next week's episode. In the meantime, if you are listening to us here on podcast, make sure that you share this episode with a friend, subscribe to our channel. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, share this with a friend, and then also subscribe to YouTube, because we have so much good content that's going out on YouTube.